Hi, I'm Alan, and this is wait, what? So this is where I look at things where I'm reading scripture, or I hear something that makes me have to stop and go, wait, hold on, what did that mean? And really have to think about it. And this one comes from Colossians 3:15. And what happened is I was going for a run, and I was listening to a podcast of a sermon. I don't remember the guy's name now, and he came up to Colossians 3:15, and he said, "It says, let the peace of Christ rule in your hearts." Okay, fine, that sounds good. Sure, let's do that. Sounds like a good idea, right? But then he says, the word rule there means umpire. Wait, what? And he didn't explain it. He just went on with his sermon. Our pastor 2 months ago did the same thing. Came to the same verse, said it means umpire, and then just kind of went on with the rest of what he's saying. And I'm going, well, wait, you're not going to explain what that means? So that means I have to think about it. So I was fascinated. How could it be an umpire, right? How could the peace of Christ be an umpire in your hearts? So I thought, well, what do umpires do, right? They have to make the tough calls, right? They have to look at something, bang, bang, instant play, safe or out, right? Ball or strike, right? They have to look at it, and we get to see it 100 times in replay. But in that moment, at that time, they have to say strike or out, or strike or ball or out, right? And so I thought, okay, well, how do you let that happen? So somehow the peace of Christ becomes that umpire, that decision maker, especially when everything's on the line, when maybe you're about to start an argument or about to say that thing that you probably shouldn't have said. 100 times you go back, boy, if I hadn't said that, things would have been so much easier, right? Or somebody's coming at you and you don't really understand why or what's going on, right? So here's what I came to in my musings is what I think it means is three things. Okay, first, you have to come from a place of peace, right? So rather than let that moment take you and react at that moment, find peace. And of course, we talk about this more later, but the peace of Christ, right? Like that peace that passes all understanding, that peace that can't be shaken, isn't based on circumstances, but you have to come from a place of peace, right? That's the first thing. Second, the third thing actually is one I'm pretty sure of too, which is I think that your goal has to be peace. We did a peacemaker series at our church called it Resolving Everyday Conflicts. And one of the things they point out is that the truly Christian thing to do is to find reconciliation. It's not about winning, right? And it's not about getting your way, or it's not even really about being right on some level. It's about finding reconciliation. So in other words, your goal has to be peace. So you have to start in peace when you're making that decision, because people don't make decisions when they're angry, when they're mad, when you react to something, when you want to get back at somebody, you're malicious, you fear. Fear is a terrible way to make decisions, right? So you have to find your peace first outside of that, and then make your decision. And then ask yourself, is my goal peace? Right? Is my goal to win? Is my goal to get back at somebody? Or am I really trying to come to peace? And then the third one, I just have a sense, I don't know how much I can prove it, but I think you also have to do it peacefully, right? You have to handle it in a way that comes from that place of peace, right? But sometimes it's things, what you're going to say is going to upset somebody. But if you're at peace and doing it peacefully, they can't really come back and say, well, it's the way you said it, right? Or you didn't handle it well. No, because I was at peace and I was very peaceful in the way I did it, and my goal was peace, right? And I think that's ultimately what you have to come to. The peace of Christ happens when you let him have control, when you recognize he's in control of everything, that ultimately the outcome will be good, that he has your best interests at heart, that you don't have to fight for things, that it's not your job to make sure everything goes the way it's supposed to, that when you leave it all with him and let him handle things, then you come to this place of peace. And then you can make decisions. You can be that umpire in that moment where you're calm and cool and collected. You're not fighting for your own outcomes or your own ends or making sure it happens the way you want it to happen, right? You have other people's interests in mind. You really have to come to that place of peace. And once you've done that, then you can make decisions that are above reproach, of decisions that don't leave people saying, oh, you just did that for this reason or for that reason. They're probably going to say it anyway, but you know you've done the right thing, and you'll be at peace either way, even if it doesn't come out the way you wanted to, because you were at peace to begin with. But if you can get to that place, that's where you can make decisions in that moment, just like that umpire, clear mind, clear head, not thinking about anything else but what actually happened or what's actually going on, and making decisions based upon that. That's when you let the peace of Christ rule in your heart. Be the umpire.